Indiana versus Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship. This is the game that we've been waiting for all season long. I feel like ever since Indiana went into Autzen Stadium and upset Oregon, we kind of all knew that these two teams were going to find each other in the Big Ten Championship for a clash of titans. And that is exactly what this game is. I cannot wait to watch this one on Saturday night. I believe it's a 7 o'clock local kick in Indianapolis, Indiana, for the Big Ten Championship, of course. And it's number one versus number two. We haven't had number one versus number two in a hot minute. So, excuse me, that's how you know this game is going to be unreal to watch. Both these teams have been so good. And we all know how good Ohio State's been. I mean, everyone's talking about it. They're number one in the country. They have been all season long ever since they beat Texas. Their defense is one of the best defenses that we've ever seen in any of our lifetimes. Julian Sands looking like a Heisman contender. Jeremiah Smith might be the best player in college football. We know how good Ohio State is. Everyone has them at the top of their list as national title contenders. And then there's Indiana. And I feel like people are still doubting the Hoosiers. Like, I've heard my A&M friends say, oh, you know what? If A&M gets to play Indiana, that's a good path. That's an easy path. I've heard Alabama people say, I hope we get the chance to play Indiana, man. I feel like we really match up well with the Hoosiers. I think we can really win that football game. I feel like no one is taking Indiana seriously. I mean, what more do they need to do? They have a Heisman contending quarterback who's at the top of NFL draft boards right now. They have an amazing run game that is first in the Big Ten. They have two elite wide receivers that can make plays. Their offensive line is fantastic. Their defense has been otherworldly this year. They have two linebackers that just play football the best way I've ever seen linebackers play football. Their corners are fantastic. Their safeties rarely make mistakes. And their coach walks into Big Ten opponent stadiums, wins by 50, has the second best team in the country, and never looks happy ever. I mean, Curt Cignetti has turned Indiana into the worst program in Power 4 to a perennial powerhouse and just walks around like this all game. It's awesome. I honestly love it. I think Indiana has done such a good job, and I'm done doubting it. I am done doubting Indiana. Like, everything that we've said Indiana can't do, it feels like they've done, except win a Big Ten championship and a national championship. So is that on the table this year? We'll see. Something I feel like no one is talking about this year, or at least going into this game, Ohio State has absolutely dominated Indiana in this series. It's not even been a competition when these two teams have played. Ohio State has won 30 straight games against Indiana. 30. I mean, they haven't lost Indiana since 1988. That's when my parents were 14 years old. That's a long time ago. No offense to my parents. I love my parents. They're fantastic. But I'm just saying, like, I was not even close to being born yet when Ohio State last lost to the Indiana Hoosiers. They lead the series all time 80-12. That's crazy. Like, I had no idea. No one's talking about this, I feel like. Ohio State is 5-1 in Big Ten championship games. They've been really good in them. Their only loss was in 2013 to Michigan State. And Indiana has never made a Big Ten championship game. I mean, Indiana has only won 2 Big Ten championships, and I think they were in like 1941 and 1967. Ohio State has won 39 Big Ten championships. The gap between these two programs is crazy. It is otherworldly. Ohio State is one of the greatest programs in the history of college football, and Indiana has like the most losses of any college football program ever. I mean, this is just night and day between these two programs. So that is what Indiana is facing. But Indiana's offense, man, they have been so good this year. They have been so much fun to watch. They are first in the Big Ten in yards per game. Every single game, they're just putting up yards. I mean, they have 229 rushing yards per game. That is crazy. And to me, the crazy part about this rushing attack is they're not just doing it with one back. You know, their rushing attack isn't so good because they have a Jeremiah Love or an Ashton Jeanty. That's not what Indiana is about. They have 2 backs, Roman Hemby and Kalen Black, that have been fantastic all season long. They're both averaging over 5.3 yards per carry. Hemby has 866 yards, and Kalen Black has 729 yards. What I love most about both of these guys, they're not highly recruited. They're not like the most physically gifted in the world, but they fight, man. They fight. Every time they get the ball, they just get so many dirty yards. Like, in my opinion, what you pay a running back to do is make safeties miss one-on-one and get dirty yards, which is basically when you're contacted at, near, or behind the line of scrimmage and you just keep fighting. When there's not a hole, when there's not a crease, and you're getting stonewalled by big old defensive linemen, but you say, I don't care. I'm getting north and south. I'm picking up yards. That is what these running backs do. And I love that about them. And by the way, this offensive line does a very good job of creating creases anyway. So I think Indiana's rushing attack is the most impressive part about their offense. And I'm saying that when they have maybe the best quarterback in college football in Fernando Mendoza. His QBR this year is 88.3, which is insane. I think it's third in the FBS right now, which is crazy. He's probably behind Julian Sain, funnily enough. But he has not thrown multiple interceptions in a game all season. He's just been dialed in. He makes plays. He can pick apart zone coverage. And if you don't believe me, just watch the Penn State game. He picked apart zone coverage. And I mean, against man coverage, those receivers, Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper, will dust you. Surratt, before he got injured, was averaging 72 yards per game. He is now at 100%. Don't worry about Elijah Surratt. He's going to be fine. And Omar Cooper, we know he can make plays. I feel like Oregon tried to run a lot of man coverage against Indiana. They thought, okay, our athletes are going to be better than yours. All your guys are transfers from James Madison. Our guys, though, we got them 5-star recruits at Oregon. But Indiana said, you're going to run man coverage? Really? All right, Elijah Surratt will just run a 15-yard comeback. Omar Cooper will run a little 5-yard option route. And we're just going to torch you up and down the field all day if you want to run man coverage. And listen, I know Ohio State's corners are fantastic. I get it. I think Donovan Igbinosun is one of the most underrated players in college football. I do. But Indiana's corners are fantastic. Or not corners, wide receivers are fantastic against man coverage. I think that's going to be a really interesting battle. Indiana is also second in the FBS in third down percentage. Their third down offense is so good, and they don't turn the ball over. Like, I am struggling to find a weakness with this Indiana offense. I don't think there is one. I mean, you could just go down the list. Their quarterback, one of the best in the country. Their rushing attack, 229 yards per game, best in the Big Ten. Their wide receivers, Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper, one of the best duos in college football. Their offensive line has allowed 15 sacks all season long and is paving the way for both of their backs to have over 800 yards this year. They've only turned the ball over 7 times this year. They are second in the FBS in third down percentage. What more could you want? Their offense is just unreal. It has been efficient. It has been explosive. It has been everything you want from an offense Indiana has been able to put up. So I don't see what is wrong with this offense at all. I think they will pretty much explode against every single team they face, except for maybe this Ohio State defense, because if you're not aware, if you've not been watching this season, if you have if your head is under a metaphorical rock in terms of the football world, you do not know that this Ohio State defense is putting up otherworldly numbers this season. I mean, they've only allowed 203 yards per game this year. And you might say to yourself, okay, that sounds pretty good. Well, in second place is Toledo in the FBS, and they're allowing 247. So, yeah, that's how much Ohio State's defense is better than anybody else in the country, and also better than anybody else since ESPN started tracking defensive stats. Ohio State's defense is fantastic. It is so good. And it's in both stopping the run and stopping the pass. I mean, we saw what they did to Michigan last week. They just could not do anything on offense. There was no chance. I mean, just look at who they have at all 3 levels of the defense. Caden Curry has 9 sacks this season with 53 total tackles. He's great against the run. He's great off the edge. They have 2 of the best linebackers in college football. I mean, Arvil Reese and Sonny Styles are number 1 and number 4 at their position for this draft class per CBS Sports. Caleb Downs is maybe the best defensive player in the sport. Cade McDonald is the second highest rated defensive tackle in this class. I mean, they just have ballers up and down the field. And that's not even mentioning Jermaine Matthews and Donovan Igbinosun, who might be the best corner duo in college football. So, yeah, this defense is unreal. There's nothing almost that this defense can do to be better at what they do. It is unreal. So this matchup between this elite, high-powered offense that has no flaws versus this elite, high-powered defense that has no flaws, it's literally an immovable object against an unstoppable force. Something's got to give. And I have no idea who's going to win this matchup because I think it's going to be so interesting to watch this amazing offense go against this amazing defense. I will say Indiana runs a lot of RPOs. They're like 25% RPOs, and nobody runs RPOs better than Indiana because Fernando Mendoza is so accurate. And I mean, they just do such a good job of getting like 5 or 6 or 7 yards on first down and staying ahead of the chains on every single possession. And I don't think Ohio State's faced an RPO-led attack like this that is this elite this year. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup to see what these linebackers do against this attack. If Ohio State chooses to run man coverage to take away, because it's really hard to run RPOs against man coverage. If Ohio State runs man coverage, they take away the RPOs, but then they're more vulnerable to a downfield passing threat like Elijah Surratt or Omar Cooper. So it's just going to be a chess match all day long. I am really, really excited to watch it. I think it's going to be a blast. But that is only half of the game. Indiana's offense versus Ohio State's defense is only going to be half of what is going on in this football game, because the other half is Ohio State's offense versus Indiana's defense. So let's look at Ohio State's offense. They've been great this year. They have not been elite, but they've been great. Of course, we all know about Julian Sain. He's really, really, really good. He's so smart with the football. He plays like a veteran. His accuracy is fantastic. He doesn't seem to succumb to adversity ever. And he's thrown the ball to two of the best wide receivers in college football. I mean, Cardinal Tate is the number 2 wide receiver prospect in this year's draft class. And Jeremiah Smith is Jeremiah Smith. He would have been the number 1 player in last year's draft class as a true freshman. He is unreal. And so is Cardinal Tate. And you're not watching this podcast to hear that, because everyone is saying that. To me, what was most impressive about this Ohio State's offense last week was the emergence of Bo Jackson. And it wasn't just last week. I mean, the last 5 games, he has been dynamite. He's averaging over 6 yards per carry this season. In his last 5 games against Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and Michigan, in all of those games, he averaged more than 5.3 yards per carry and was dynamic. I mean, going into the Michigan game, after the Texas game and Washington game, the thing that I was worried about this Ohio State offense was their inability to have a successful first half rushing attack, and they just completely proved me wrong. So that's been the most impressive thing that I've seen from this Ohio State offense that I didn't expect to see, was the emergence of Bo Jackson, the emergence of that run game. And I think if they have that again this week and the rest of the time, good luck beating Ohio State. I mean, they had a 20-play drive against Michigan. That is crazy. Also, the most impressive thing maybe about this whole Ohio State offense, given all that they have skill position-wise, is their offensive line. It is so good. They've allowed 6 sacks all season. 6 sacks. And we've played 12 games. That's half a sack per game. That is crazy. And they're doing it with a quarterback, this Julian Sain, who's not the most athletic guy in the world, and he's not very big. So it doesn't take much to get him on the ground. But Ohio State's tackles are so good that no one has a chance. They're also first and third down percentage in the nation. That's why they were able to stay on the field so long against Michigan. Their ability to run the ball with Bo Jackson and just convert third down after third down after third down. Whether it's attacking zone coverage with all those like 7-yard, 8-yard hitch routes that Julian Sain is so good at throwing, or running the ball in short yardage situations, whatever it is, Ohio State on third down is unstoppable. They don't turn the ball over either. So, yeah, this Ohio State offense is fantastic. It's going to be really tough to stop. But this Indiana defense is pretty good too. I think the most impressive part about this defense is their linebackers. Elijah Hardy and Aiden Fisher are so good. I mean, these guys are so much fun to watch. They both have over 70 tackles this year. Indiana is a heavy zone coverage defense from what I can tell, from what I watched against Oregon. They basically take away the deep ball. They say, you're not going to beat us over the top explosively. We're going to run a lot of cover 3, a lot of Tampa 2, and we're going to make you walk the ball down the field and score. And I think that they really trust their linebackers in that system to make plays, whether it's tackles for loss, whether it's sacks, whatever it may be. And they want you on the field for as long as they can get you, because that means that they give more of an opportunity for their players on defense to make plays. And I mean, with that being said, I think Kamara, their Kamari, or is that his name? Kamara, I know, is their edge rusher. I think that him coming off the edge is going to be a big factor in this game because Ohio State's pass blocking is so good. Can Kamara make an impact? That's very important to me. Let me bring this closer to me so I can see what I wrote down. They also did force some turnovers. I think Michigan forced a turnover at the beginning of the game against Ohio State. And after the Michigan didn't force any more turnovers, Ohio State just kind of waltzed down their throats on offense. So that's going to be important to me. But I think the main X factor of this game for Indiana defensively versus Ohio State offensively, and this is what we saw in their matchup last year. Ohio State was able to run the ball so well. They were able to control the game that way. Can Indiana not let Ohio State run the ball for 5 or 6 yards every single time? Can they establish a little bit of dominance at the line of scrimmage? Can they not get pushed off their spot by this Ohio State offensive line? If they can, and they make Julian Sands throw into tight windows, I think they've got a shot. So, with all that being said, I mean, these two teams have been the two most perfect teams in college football this season. Indiana's offense has been elite. Ohio State's defense has been otherworldly. And then, of course, on the other side of things, Ohio State's offense, Indiana's defense, they've both been fantastic. I've been on the Indiana hype train all year. I've picked Indiana to beat everyone other than Oregon. I was wrong about the Oregon game. But I think this Indiana team is so cool. I am sick and tired of hearing people say, yeah, but, they're Indiana. Like, are you really going to tell me that they're a good team? They're a good team. I don't care that they're Indiana. I don't care that the logo on their helmet is an I and a U. This is one of the best teams in college football. And I would love nothing more than to see Indiana find a way to win this football game. That being said, this Ohio State team, man, it is so, so good. I mean, on both sides of the ball, this is one of the best football teams we've ever seen at the college level. It is impossible for me to pick Indiana in this football game. Ohio State is just too good. So what did I have to do? I picked the Indiana Hoosiers anyway. I mean, this is such an emotional pick to me. I've got Indiana winning the game 30-20. Like I said, one of the keys to their victories, stop the run. If they can stop the run, they can do it. And they've got those dogs at linebacker, man. They could pull it off. I think Indiana could do it. If they stop the run, they bring some unique blitz packages. If they play selfless football, which is what they're so good at doing, they have a shot. And then, like I said, RPOs, screen passes. They need to find a way to neutralize this Ohio State pass rush, get their linebackers just a little flummoxed, and take their elite corners out of the game. If they could do that, I'm taking Indiana. I feel like if Indiana wins this game, the world will be shocked. Everyone will say, how did they do it? This is unreal. I'm not going to be shocked. I'm not going to be the one shocked by Indiana winning this football game. I am picking the Hoosiers, and I'm standing by that, and I'm going to be cheering for them. I try and be as unbiased as a fan as possible on this podcast, but I will be cheering my butt off for the Indiana Hoosiers, and I really hope they win this football game. And I'm picking them to do it. So with that, your number one team going into the playoffs, your Big Ten champions, the Indiana Hoosiers. And just, if you say they can't do it, that's just more fuel for Kirk Cignetti. It's more fuel for him. So I love Indiana. I really hope they win this football game. I'm picking them on Saturday nights. It's going to be a heck of a ball game. With that said, always remember that Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. And, to get into heaven, to get everlasting life, to get true happiness, to be truly fulfilled, that is done by doing the will of the Father in heaven, by choosing God throughout our lives, which is very hard to do, but we can do it. And we've got friends and family around us that can help us. So always remember to have hope. And hope is not just being optimistic. Hope is knowing that God has a plan and that God has a will for you, and trusting in that future that God has promised for you and in doing his will. With that being said, God bless. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great conference championship weekend and a great holiday season. And have a great night, folks. I'll see you later.